First question. First question is, transverse binary fission occurs in which of the following organism? So here you should note transverse. Transverse means they are referring to plane of cytokinesis. So yesterday I already told that if it is amoeba, the plane of cytokinesis, suppose this is a plane, there can be any of the plane. So it is irregular. It means any of the plane cytokinesis can occur in case of amoeba. And therefore amoeba can't be transverse. Now second, hydra. When it's come to hydra, I told reproduction occurs through budding. So of course budding is not comparable at all to binary fission. So even hydra is not an answer. And next is euglena. Yesterday I told when euglena undergoes binary fission, then plane of division will be longitudinal but not transverse. So in amoeba, it is supposed to be irregular, and in case of hydra it is budding. In case of euglena it is longitudinal. But in paramecium, the plane is transverse, that is perpendicular to longitudinal. If it is the paramecium, this could have been its longitudinal plane for cytokinesis, but here in paramecium, it will be transverse. Now, this itself will answer the question. There is the fourth one. Transverse plane of cytokinesis. Okay, transverse plane of cytokinesis. So this answers the first question. Next one. Next, you need to observe the figures, and you should know the difference between three of them. One is A group, A1 you have to observe, then B gametes, and the C gametes you have to observe. In A you can see that these two are similar in such a way that you cannot differentiate which is the male gamete and which is the female gamete. When you can't differentiate, such type of gametes are called isogametes. And in second condition, you can differentiate here. It can occur in organisms like protozoa, where this is macro, one is the female and the microgamete is the male. And here there is the similarity. Since there is a dissimilarity, these are called heterogametes. Dissimilar gametes are called heterogametes. Whereas similar gametes are called isogametes. Another word you can use here is homogametes. And now the third one, that is C. C, you have to observe these sperms as well as ovum. Here also it is not similar, so it is heterogamete. So A will be homogamete. Okay. B will be heterogamete. C also will be heterogamete. Why not the first one? Because if first one was homogamete, it would have been true. In the second option, you can say we have given homogamete, but B we have given as isogametes, which are similar in their structure. So in that case, you cannot choose the second option. You have to choose the third option. We are observing into this figures, the A group, the B group, and the C group. Here, what you're expected to know is regarding similarity in terms of structural similarity you are observing from the figure. Say they are similar or no. Based on that, you will come to know about these terms called as heterogamete, homogamete, isogamete. Like that. So this completes the second question. Third one. Third one is asexual reproduction is carried out by which of the following option? If you see the option, they expect you to know the features of asexual reproduction. By seeing the options, you can know that they expect you to know the features or characteristic features of asexual reproduction has to be known. So first you should know here is characteristic features of asexual reproduction. If you know, then you should be able to answer this question. First one character you see. Asexual reproduction is marked by single parent. That is true. Asexual reproduction can occur due to presence of a single parent. Then second option you see, without fusion of gametes. You know that in asexual reproduction, no gametes are formed. When there is no gametes itself, there is no question of fusion of gametes. So even second is correct, that there is no gamete and there is no fusion of gametes. And when I tell no gametes, it means with or without the formation of gametes. Of course, it is without the formation of gamete, but they are including this with. So this particular option is not completely, like not completely correct. So here answer should be all of the above when it is stated as without the formation of gametes. Next question. Estrous cycle is a cyclical changes which will affect the activities of ovary and its accessory ducts. Now, what cyclical changes will be occurring? It is a reproduction related event. Estrous cycle. Here you should know the difference between estrous cycle and then menstrual cycle. First difference is in the animals in which it will occur. Okay. And I have already explained that phenomena like puberty, when it will occur, reproductive phase. You know, three phases are there: juvenile phase, reproductive phase, and which phase? So puberty, estrous cycle, or menstrual cycle. All these terms are associated with reproductive phase within the life cycle. So also here estrous cycle is within which cycle? Reproductive period. Okay. Now, and second is maturation period, aging period, juvenile period. First one you should know, estrous cycle occurs in non-primates. And you should know that this will be occurring among the primates. Here what happens? Endometrium sheds here, but is not released outside the body. The shed endometrium is not released outside the body, but it is reabsorbed. Here endometrium, here also it breaks. Here also endometrium breaks. Then, but it is not reabsorbed, but it is released as a discharge. Released as a discharge. Now the third is, what happens if there is no discharge in stress cycle is there is a period of heat. For example, cow, period of heat may range from 12 hours to 24 hours. Period of heat during this phase, within this near around this time only, that there is a release of ovum and the female will be receptive during this time. So period of heat or period of stress, they tell actually. Only heat is there, there's no discharge here. But in menstrual cycle, there's a discharge. So here, of course, what is there? There's no period of heat as such, but it's called as the discharge. That is menstruation occurs. Now, in which phase? As such, maturation phase is there, maturation period. But that is not the standard term to be used. But which is the standard term used is reproductive period. Whether it is seasonal or perennial animals, it should be a non-primate. If it is seasonal or perennial in a seasonal or active throughout the reproductive phase, both kind of animals will be showing the cyclical changes. Aging period is senescence. Juvenile period is what? What is called the growth phase. Still, even their reproductive system here also it will be maturing, but still it is not completely mature. The second term, the exact term used to explain the juvenile, not to explain the life spans phases will be reproductive phase. In reproductive phase, already maturation will have occurred. Okay, and the reproductive, reproductive organs are active. Next, gametogenesis is formation of male gamete, also correct. Female gamete also correct. So male gamete formation, you can use the term spermatogenesis. And female gamete, you can use the word oogenesis. Now together of these two itself will be explained as gametogenesis. So correct answer will be both A and B. So gametogenesis. Where does it occur? In gonads. It occurs in gonads. So this is next question. Reproduction takes place in which stage of lifespan? 3 stages already explained: juvenile phase, maturation stage, reproductive stage. So where the reproductive occurs is in the reproductive stage. Here we are trying to stick to the terms which are commonly used for the phases: juvenile phase, reproductive phase, senescent phase. Since the term is more accurate, we are referring to this answer: reproductive stage. So reproduction takes place in reproductive stage. What is the significance? Why not juvenile growth phase? Maturation phase, is not the term used for the phase, even though here maturation as reproductive maturation occurs. But in reproductive phase, already the maturation would have been complete. Now the reproductive organs are active and produce the sperms and ovum. Aging phase is actually the senescent phase. Now you see in reproductive phase, a reproductive system already mature and develop. Reproductive organs develop. Then what starts forming is gametes starts forming. When gametes start forming, obviously their capacity to produce the offsprings that is gained during reproductive stages. So this is about the stages of the life span. Here what is going on? Growth is going on and development, maturation is being gained, but it is not completed. Aging process, even though it starts, but it becomes irreversible, then only you can call it as senescence. So this was about reproduction, reproductive stage, that is phases of life span. The part where fertilization of ovum takes place in rabbit, human, and placental mammals. So, fertilization is what? First, you should know. And which part of reproductive system they are explaining. Fertilization is fusion of gametes. So, I would like to take an example of humans and then explain it. So, humans will have oviduct, cervix, and this is the birth canal, and the ovary that produces ovum. Now, ovum is produced and is released outside the ovary. This phenomena will be called ovulation. Now, as this ovum is collected in the fallopian tube, and I'm also right now explaining what is insemination and all. By this will come to know the sperms that are deposited in the vagina through a phenomena called insemination. They ascend in the uterus. I mean, they move up through in the uterus. And then, even though millions of sperms will die here, few of them make their way into this tube called fallopian tube. Now, there is the very wide part of it here. Very wide part will be there. This wide part is called ampulla. The region can be called ampullary region. Ampulla is the site where majority of fertilization occurs. But here, among the answer, you are not seeing ampulla. See, this is the ovary. This is uterus. And this will be vagina where fertilization is not going to occur. Fertilization is fusion of gametes. In this, which part they are asking? Now, they did not tell ampulla. So, among the answers, there is no ampulla. But where is ampulla? Ampulla is a part of this tube called fallopian tube. Or it's also called oviduct. So based on this, the answer will be part in which majority of the fertilization occurs is fallopian tube. In fallopian tube, only the part where majority of fertilization occurs is called the ampulla. So this is about fertilization. So you should know only where it occurs and what is fertilization. Then once the sperm will move further in ampullary region, there is one condition that both sperms and ovum should simultaneously meet in this ampullary Then only there is a successful fertilization. It means the sperm can fuse with the ovum. Once they fuse, what is formed is the single cell called zygote is formed. That means two cell will fuse here. That is two haploid cells. That is the sperm and ovum will fuse and form the diploid zygote. Now next is which of the following is not immortal? Now you should just know the term what is mortal and immortal. It is a general term used here. Now, mortal means death. Mortality or mortal means death is occurring there. If it is immortal, then that organism don't have death at all. No death. When we say the organism is dying, when part or when a parent body dies, when parent when parent body dies, nothing but we are saying it is mortal. And technically also there's one more definition under it. If part of parent lost, part of parent body is lost, even little part of the parent body is lost means even that time we say there is part of death of what? Parent. So in any ways, whether it is part is dying or the whole is dying, in both cases it is called as mortality, or those organisms are called mortal. Yesterday I told those organisms that are undergoing binary fission, one parent cell is there, and consider this is the plane of cytokinesis, and then it forms two daughter cells of equal size. Now here, neither parent, there is no depth of the entire body of parent, nor there is no part also is also not dying here. That means entire components of parents are distributed between two daughter cells. That means parent is not at all dying. All its substances are distributed between the two daughter cells. It means that, which example is it? Binary fission. Because two cells are formed. So therefore, binary fission is an example of immortal cells. Those cells that undergo binary fission are examples of immortal cells. Example is prokaryotes like bacteria. They exhibit binary fission. If they exhibit binary fission, they are immortal. Plus, when amoeba, in case of favorable conditions, when enough water, when enough oxygen is available, it prefers the binary fission. But when there is unfavorable conditions, then it prefers multiple fission. Okay. So therefore, among this example, you have to see which is not mortal. No, what they're telling, immortal. Not mortal means death. Immortal means no death. Not immortal means nothing but they're asking what is undergoing death. Now, which are those other organisms that undergo binary fission? I told you Glina next. Plus next is Paramecium. Binary fission, no death. Means they are immortal, no death. Immortal. But they're asking here not immortal, means opposite, which will undergo death. This also undergoes binary fission. This is also immortal. But you see, this tree, the parent tree dies after producing seeds. Once offspring plants produce, then it is going to die. Since death is there, it is not immortal. That means it is undergoing death. Instead, what it said is mortal. Embryogenesis is the process of development of embryo from zygote. It involves which process they're asking. Remember, see the phenomena here. Meiosis is commonly occurring cell division during formation of gametes. They are not asking gametes here. They are asking gametes are already fused and formed what? Zygote. And now zygote is developing into what? Embryo. For this, which phenomena is required? So which phenomena is required for this? Mitosis is required. Cell division called mitosis. And then cell differentiation. The cell's original function is going to change. The cell's original structure is going to change. That time we say that it is cell differentiation. So correct answer should be fourth. That is both the second and third. Okay. How is that? I'll briefly explain here. Consider this as a zygote. Zygote will start dividing initially rapidly by cleavage and form a mass of cell, and finally blastula is formed, and blastula forms gastrula with 3 germ layers. Once there is a zona hatching, from that time itself, that means once the implantation completes and gastrulation is formed, then these cells will now start differentiating. Got? That means ectoderm forms nervous system, endoderm forms part of the digestive system. Got? Like that, mesoderm forms bone and all. So it means that the cells are becoming specialized, and that is due to cell differentiation. Now consider there is one cell here. This is the original cell. It is going to change its structure. After changing its structure, it is also changing its one of its function. Then we say what is going on here? Cell differentiation is going on. Both the change in structure, function compared to its progenitor cell or compared to its parental cell. So that means once it differentiates, this will get a special character. That means specialized characters will start. Originally, in a blastocyst, every cell can form any part of the body. Okay. That means it does not, there are undifferentiated cells, still has to get differentiated and get special features. That means different tissues with different functions are formed with special features, different organs with special features are formed. It is because there the cells undergo cell differentiation. And that is why when different tissues and different organs are formed, means what should be different? Different characters, different functions should be there. And that is possible when the original cells will undergo cell differentiation. And of course, a very common phenomena occurring during embryogenesis, organogenesis, or growth is that what occurs is cell division. So this is about embryogenesis. What is embryogenesis? Formation of embryo. Now, in a brief, to explain it briefly, how we can explain is zygote forms embryo based on two fundamental processes. One is a cell division, another is cell differentiation. So this was about The ninth question. In diploid organism, the gamete producing cells are called what? In diploid organism, gamete producing cells are called gamete mother cells. These cells are nothing but cells that are capable of undergoing meiosis. And let me also tell, myocytes are also cells that also has a capability of undergoing meiosis. And last time I told that meiosis is the basis of cell division during what formation? During during gamete formation. So you can tell that gamete mother cell is actually a myocyte, which is capable of undergoing meiosis. Even myocyte is any cell that is capable of undergoing meiosis, the germ cells. So therefore, what happens? Both are correct, both 1 and 2. As a result, the answer will be both A and B. Process of release of egg from ovary is called what? It's called ovulation. This is a direct answer. In this question, they expect you to know the definition of ovulation. That again, I have to just write very fast and explain here. This is the fallopian tube, for example, human ovary. Now, inside this ovary, follicles start developing: primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, and Graafian, mature Graafian follicle. And a mature Graafian follicle will have ovum inside it, which is in a secondary oocyte stage. Now, this mature follicle, what happens? This mature follicle called Graafian follicle will rupture under hormonal influence of LH. When it ruptures, what is released is ovum is released. That means ovum is released outside. And now here there are finger-like projections. They will collect this ovum. Okay, they will be sweeping constantly over the ovary. So as the ovum is released, they collect the ovum. And these finger-like projections are called fimbriae. Now this phenomena of release of ovum after rupture of mature Graafian follicle, the definition itself is called what? Ovulation. Now, then what is reproduction? You know, definition of reproduction is production of offsprings of similar kind. Now, if I tell offsprings of similar kind, it is. Just note this. Similar kind. It is not exact kind. It is. They're not telling they're totally identical. No. Or are they telling exact copy? No. If it was identical and exact, then which term is going to come there? Clone. Identical in terms of genetic material and morphology. Exact in terms of genetic material and morphology means it's called as a clone. Okay. So here, similar kind means it can be non, and this can be possible in which reproduction? Asexual reproduction. Whereas non-identical but somewhat similar to parent, not exact, in that will be in case of which reproduction? Sexual reproduction. Then coming to menstruation. Menstruation is one of the phase in menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle have 4 phases: menstruation phase, follicular phase, or what is called the proliferative phase, and the third is ovulatory phase, fourth is luteal phase, or like that. Phases will be there during the menstrual cycle in primates, that is monkeys, and then apes, that is gorilla, chimpanzee, orangutan, that is monkeys, apes, and humans, of course. They will exhibit this cycle called menstrual cycle. That menstrual cycle has 4 stages. The first stage itself is what? Menstruation phase, where what occurs? Discharge occurs. That is why it's called the menstruation. Then fourth comes insemination, which has been taught here itself. See, this is the cervix, this is the vagina, together called birth canal. So sperms will be released here. This deposition of sperms into the vagina of the female reproductive tract, or artificially even in uterine, intrauterine insemination can be there artificially, but naturally it is going to be released. So that process is called as insemination. It is also one of the important event in reproduction. So events in sexual reproduction already given according to NCERT neatly. They have given as pre-fertilization event, post-fertilization, fertilization event itself, and then post-fertilization event. But the sequence is always what? First what forms? Gamete forms. And then what should be done? Gamete should be transferred. And only after transfer, what can occur is fusion of gametes can occur. Now, when fusion of gametes can occur, then other events starts. So that is zygote formation, embryo formation, or organogenesis. So already it is put in sequence. That is Roman number 1, 2, 3. Already it is put in sequence. So they are asking what is the correct sequence. So already since it is put in a correct sequence, correct answer will be 4th. Got? And you should know what these events is marked by which mean other sub-events. Refertilization means gamete transfer. Fertilization means fusion occurs. It can occur external or internal. Post-fertilization means zygote, then embryo development. Those will be post-fertilization events. Now, animals giving birth to young ones. Here, depending on how the zygote develops. Zygote develops how? That means fertilized egg. Zygote is nothing but already fertilized ovum will be called as a zygote. Now there are giving birth. Directly the animals are giving birth here to young ones. Okay. When giving birth to young ones will be called what? Viviparous animals. So viviparous animals is named as. Now what phenomena occurs here? For example, this is the reproductive tract of an animal. An egg is produced here. Egg is laid outside in the environment, and egg will hatch and then produce the young ones. Some period will be there in between. Some period will be there in between, and this period is called as incubation period. And those all are called oviparous animals like birds, reptiles, and even among the mammals, duck-billed platypus. Now, ovoviviparous. Again, reproductive tract here, egg is produced, but egg is not laid. They are not egg-laying animals. They are egg-laying animals. I mean, they produce eggs, but they don't lay eggs. That you should understand here. Good. Now, what happens is incubation period completes inside only. That means here inside only incubation period completes. The egg will hatch inside, and what comes out is the young ones comes out. Ovoviviparous. So let me just point out that oviparous is not given in your NCERT. It's just a small on oviparous and viviparous. Now, oviparous, certain shark species, certain rattlesnakes are oviparous. Here, what you should know is there is no placenta here in animal giving birth to. And viviparous are what? Zygote has been formed, embryo is developing, but there is a structure that provides nutrients to the embryo. There is a physiological connection between the mother and the fetus, and that is called placenta. Now, what is directly the young ones is given birth, but here directly the young ones is not given birth. Okay, what is occurring is egg is being produced, then it appears as if it is viviparous, but it is actually not viviparous. It is first oviparous, and then so for this you will not tell as giving birth to animals. Directly giving birth to young ones. So this will be about the animals, three types of animals based on how the zygote develops. Then Hydra. Here, reproduction occurs through formation of spores, certain non-flowering plants or fungus, so this cannot be an answer. Hydra will not reproduce by binary fission, that by knowledge, by knowledge you should know, and that is usually exhibited by prokaryotes, amoeba, then just mentioned already, paramecium, like that. So it's not in case of. Now, Hydra reproduces asexually. Asexually, how they are asking, like, what is the mode of reproduction of Hydra? Yesterday, already told that Hydra will reproduce by budding. And fragmentation reproduction is usually exhibited by planaria. Now, what planaria does? So, this is the diagram of planaria. Now, make this planaria into 3 pieces. Cut it into 3 pieces. Now, each piece will independently grow into a new planaria, like this. This fragmentation. How this fragment forms into complete individual? There is one phenomena called regeneration. If a part of a body itself will produce a complete individual, it is called morpholaxis. A regeneration phenomena called morpholaxis. But here, if a part of the body cannot form a complete body, but instead it can only regrow the lost part of the body. For example, lizard tail is cut, it can regrow the tail here. That time we say it is regeneration, through which phenomena? Epimorphosis. So there is a difference between morpholaxis and epimorphosis. Now next is budding, which has already been explained here. Consider this is Hydra. Now in some parts of Hydra, some special cells will be there. These special cells are called regenerative cells, capable of regenerating. Regenerative cells. So this is Hydra. Hydra has, in some parts of its body, it has special cells. These cells are called regenerative cells. It means, word regeneration means they have capacity. The regenerative cells have capacity for cell division. Rapid mitosis, they can be able to undergo rapid mitosis. Now, when this part undergoes rapid mitosis, it will start growing a small outgrowth initially. This outgrowth can be called as bud. Now slowly this bud also outgrowth produces tentacles. Still it matures enough. Till it so it remains, this bud remains attached to this parent body. Once it grows to a certain particular stage or particular size and then become independent, mature enough to be independent, then it will detach from the parent body and reattach to the substratum like this. Then this small hydra, which is reattached substratum, will start growing and forming a new individual, which is an offspring of this parent. So that is called as budding. Since this bud is outside the body, it is also called exogenous bud. And in sponges, endogenous buds, that is, intrinsic buds are formed, and those buds are called gemmules. Okay, the gemmule, what does it have? It is a gelatinous wall is there, into which is embedded the spicules. And inside here we have totipotent cells called arcuocytes. And there is the opening of this gemmule is there. These are highly resistant. They can withstand extreme unfavorable, they can withstand tough unfavorable conditions. So that is about hydra and its mode of reproduction. Clone is two or more individuals which are similar to. You're expected to know only one thing here, that is the definition of clone. And if you just know the definition of clone, you can definitely answer these questions. Clone is an individual who is genetically identical to the parent, morphologically identical to the parent. When I tell genetically identical means DNA of the parent is same like that of the DNA of offsprings. Or you can tell the nuclear content. Okay, DNA is present where? In the nucleus, in the chromosome. The chromosome content, the DNA is same, the genes are same. So it is genetically identical to that of parent. And when it comes to morphological similarity, here we refer to the structure. That means offsprings are similar looking. I mean, almost like same looking like that of the parent. They are morphologically identical. So therefore, it should be both A and B. Clone is two or more individuals which are similar genetically and morphologically, with whom again? You should know this. With identical to that of parent. So therefore answer will be both genetically identical to the parents, morphologically identical to the parents. Now next. And clone is, it is a common feature in asexual. Here. See, amoeba has both capacities. It can divide by binary fission and it can divide by multiple fission, by both. It means both the capacity it has, but the conditions are different. When it is a favorable conditions, then it is by binary. Favorable conditions means environment conditions, and water is there. So all these will help in what do you call the good conditions, good environment conditions. Usually it will not go for multiple fission. It will always choose for the binary fission. So dual behavior of amoeba. On the other hand, if it is unfavorable conditions, the enough water quality, that means oxygen content, nutrient content is affected, and unfavorable conditions are the water itself is less or so. In that condition, amoeba starts developing cyst around it. Now this is was very irregular shape. Amoeba now starts taking up three layers around it, one, two, three layered cyst wall, and inside now it becomes round. Inside it is actually the amoeba. Then the nuclear division occurs. Then each nucleus will take a little cytoplasm and the cyst wall is broken here. But in case of Plasmodium, there is no cyst wall. The plasmarine cell ruptures, what do you call, as it is. There is, but here there is a development of cyst wall. And even Entamoeba histolytica, this is very important, this is there in NCERT, Entamoeba histolytica. Histolytica. This also will divide through multiple species. Here also cyst wall is formed. Amoeba and entamoeba, amoeba or entamoeba histolytica, both amoeba proteus and amoeba histolytica. In both cases, there is multiple species. So this is the 16th question. So just you have to know, they're asking which condition here. So you have to mark this one. They're asking favorable conditions. So now your answer should be in this direction. Favorable conditions, the amoeba reproduces through binary fission, which is nothing but a mode of sexual reproduction under favorable conditions. Next one. In oviparous individuals, development of zygote takes place. Location they're asking. They're expecting you to know where the zygote forms. You should know where the location of zygote formation. In human, already explained just now that the location of zygote occurs in ampulla region of fallopian tube. And that fallopian tube is also called oviduct. Okay. They're asking individuals in general. Now, oviparous means egg-laying animals. So, fertilized egg are already formed within the body. It means fertilized egg or fertilization of the egg occurs egg-laying animals. Fertilization takes place inside the body. And there is also one more possibility which you should note in this is this question needs an explanation a little bit, so you'll note it. If it is a cleidoic egg, the fertilization will have occurred inside the body. And if it is an external fertilizing animal, that is oviparous, but it undergoes external fertilization, that time fertilization occurs outside the body. So you should know the examples.